Wainwright. And well, first of all, I've never been to this amazing place. What a fabulous spot. And so it's great to be here and to be supporting this incredible movie. I saw EMILIA PEREZ a while ago when it first came out, and it was really great to see it again tonight because I don't know, there's just so much that you see each time, and you notice and so forth. So I feel very well versed in the movie. I'm not an interviewer by profession. I'm usually the subject. So I have some great questions that I'm going to ask as well, and some more nonchalant things. So, but I'm going to try my best, and I'd like to invite down Clément Ducol, the songwriter, composer, Camille, the songwriter, composer, and Jacques Audiard, the director. Okay, so I do. Let's see. I've written a musical. Let's start with the director, shall we? The most important person. I know that because I just did a musical myself in London with a great director, and so yes, the director is very, very important, and so congratulations. I guess, just from off the cuff, having seen it for the second time, what I think, as well as the story and the script and the music and so forth, what really struck me and really I even enjoyed more the second time was the editing. It's so beautifully edited, this movie, and it really, I don't know, can you tell me about the editing?
D'abord, merci, bonsoir. On recommence, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. It's our last Q&A in LA, isn't it?
Alors, merci, Rufus. Alors, le montage. Qu'est-ce que je pourrais te dire du montage? D'abord, je pourrais te dire une chose, c'est que la personne qui a monté s'appelle Juliette Wellfilm. Je la connais depuis la nuit des temps. Elle a monté tous mes films. Je n'ai jamais fait monter mes films par d'autres personnes qu'elle. Alors, c'est très difficile de... Oui, c'est difficile de parler du montage comme ça, parce que comme le montage a à voir avec l'écriture, là, il y avait de la musique, des chansons, de la danse, tout ça, ce qui impliquait une autre forme. Tu ne peux pas couper comme tu veux dans la musique. Donc tu es d'une certaine façon obligé de faire certaines choses. Il y a des morceaux, il y a un ou deux, je ne sais plus, qu'on a supprimé complètement.
On l'a supprimé, il y en a
pas mal, ouais.
Pas mal,
Il y en a au moins deux, mais...
Donc, toi, tu peux supprimer une musique, une chanson, mais c'est très difficile, une fois que c'est tourné, de monter le... Tu traduis ça, comment c'est?
Ouais, bien sûr.
Thank you, Rufus. Editing. What can I say about that? One thing I could say is that I edit with a woman called Juliette Wellfling. I have known her since the beginnings of time. I've had her edit all my films. I've never asked anyone else to edit for me. But editing is something hard to talk about just like that because it's related to so many other things. It's related to the writing, for one thing. And in this case, you had music, song, dance, all these layers that demanded another form. When you have music, you can't just cut however you want. You're obliged to do certain things. So, for instance, on this film, we did take out a couple of songs entirely. You can take out entire numbers, but you can't simply cut into the music and edit it that way.
Ce qui m'a obligé là à mieux savoir que d'habitude ce que je devais tourner.
Which forced me, in this case, to better know than usual what I had to shoot.
Thank you so much. And one other question. I mean, it says, you know, your film's about redemption and transformation, and the inconceivable difference of what we wanted to be in the world. But what I want to say, what really struck me this second time around was that there's all these different loves. You know, there's the love of the mother love, the father love, the sexual love, and so forth. But the one that in the end that becomes kind of uncorrupted and kind of so pure and remains, you know, good in a lot of ways is friendship. So in the end, it's really this movie is really about friendship. Would you agree with that or not?
Est-ce que ça c'est l'amitié?
Oui, il y a tant d'amour différents.
Oui. Oui, oui, tout à fait. En fait, il y a une chose qui est que moi je sais, que peut-être vous n'avez pas vu, mais moi je le sais, c'est que entre Rita et Emilia, il y a une relation particulière. Et je pense que Rita nous fait bien savoir que sa vie est un petit peu médiocre, aussi bien sentimentalement que professionnellement. Mais moi je sais une chose, et je crois que ça passe quand même au bout du monde entier, c'est que l'amour c'est que Rita est l'amoureuse cachée d'Emilia. Et que Emilia est l'amour de la vie de Rita. Et ça sera un amour qui ne sera jamais avoué, puisque vous avez vu le film, vous savez comment ça se passe. Mais quand on voit la transmission des choses, c'est Rita héritera des enfants d'Emilia, et ça sera la nouvelle mère des enfants d'Emilia.
I'll just translate that.
Yes, tu peux y arriver, Jean.
Well, there's one thing I know that you might not have seen, but I know it, and that's that Rita and Emilia have a particular relationship. I think that it's pretty clear in the film that Rita has a mediocre life, whether it's romantic or professionally, and I know this one thing that I do think comes across in the film, which is that Rita is secretly in love with Emilia. Emilia is the love of Rita's life, and of course that is not fated to ever happen. You've seen the end of the film, but at the end of the film, Rita inherits Emilia's children and she becomes their new mother.
Wonderful. This is a question for Clément and Camille. Tell me about the process of working with Jacques and how that worked in the sense of you know, were the lyrics first? Did you have the song come in? Did he tell you what he needed, or did you bring something forth that you felt should happen, or just was there any kind of structure or not?
Okay. First of all, I'm a huge fan of your work. I love the way you ended the show. You know, kind of crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we love that.
Yeah, that's right.
Really dark,
Turn red.
Legend.
Let's talk about the way you're writing a song.
I can go on for hours.
So it's our last Q&A. We will have to, you know, a big party. So, Jacques Audiard wanted us to be involved from the very beginning of the script's construction. So at first we had just the treatment, 20 pages treatment. And we were stuck in the Périgord, southwest of France, with Jacques, Camille, and Vidiots, his collaborator. And we were just reading the treatments, pointing out the scene that would be used for songs. And then we wrote our music, and then Jacques and Thomas would come to listen, and we talked about, and sometimes songs can act as catalyst for narrative emotions. It helps to move forward. So it allows Jacques and Thomas to go faster to another scene, to another writing of the scene.
Yeah, it helps them to write the next scene.
Voilà. And yes, so everything was linked together, was woven together, music and script.
Yeah, and I'm in charge of the lyrics, composition, and lyrics. I'm a songwriter, so you know what it's about. So I feel when there's a song there. It's like a radar I have. So when Jacques would talk about the scenes, oh, that's a song. Or Jacques would ask, well, do you think this could be a song? I'd say, yeah, maybe. Or no. Or, well, actually, I said no. Anything could make a song in the world, I feel. And when I needed more, then I would ask Jacques to talk about the scene more. You know, when I felt it was not quite there, or I was stuck, or I would ask him to talk about the scene. And Jacques has this ability to just. I mean, it's like a novel, un roman en marche, comme on dit.
A novel underway, a novel progressing.
In the making, like, you know, when it's like when you ask him about his characters or his scene, it's like he's living the scene again and thinking over again, and so it changes under your eyes, your ears. You hear it moving. It keeps doing that, like throughout the whole process. It's really creative. Each time you mention a scene or a song, you feel like you're going somewhere else, and that's what it loves so much.
Wonderful, thank you. What I particularly love about this piece is that I like how the singing is so naturalistic. You know, I'm not going to poke any jabs at any other contenders, but let's just say that in musical theater, in general, especially in this day and age, I get a little tired of everybody having like the most amazing voice in the world. You know, or at least singing as if they do. And tonight. Anyways, but I love how the singers in this, you know, sound like people, and each voice is very different and very kind of unique. Was that at all part of the plan in terms of when you started the project? And this is kind of a question for the three of you in a certain way.
Je réponds, Jacques? Que personne chante vraiment parfaitement, tu vois, que c'est pas des parties de performance.
Oui, non, il y avait ce désir. Je fais une confession rapide, on ne s'y arrête pas trop, j'aime pas la comédie musicale.
First, I'm going to make a quick confession. Let's not dwell on it. I don't really like the musical very much.
Donc, partant de ce constat, j'avais envie les mots fixent trop les choses. J'avais envie, par rapport à ce que pouvaient être des modèles, d'une comédie musicale peut-être imparfaite, peut-être bancale, peut-être parler, chanter, et puis peut-être que toutes les voix n'auront pas la même qualité, les chorégraphies, les danseurs n'auront pas tous les mêmes qualités de danse. Pour que tout ça qui est là-dedans, alors voilà, parfois la comédie musicale, il y a quelque chose de très lisse, et sans aspérité. C'est tellement professionnel, c'est tendu à l'ordre. Moi j'avais envie nous avions envie, vraiment quelque chose qu'on partageait, d'une comédie musicale enfin, proche de nous. On pourrait se dire, tiens, moi aussi je pourrais chanter ça. Il manque une branche. Donc voilà, quelque chose de parfois un petit peu flottant.
So starting from that confession, I can say that I wanted models that were a more imperfect type of musical, an off-kilter musical, a musical that was perhaps spoken, sung, and songs that didn't all have the same qualities. So the choreography of dancers that would have different qualities. You know, sometimes the musical is simply too smooth, too polished, too professional. I think that we wanted, because it was a shared desire, a musical that was close to us, that had a kind of floating quality.
Yeah, what I can say is that I'm a singer-songwriter, but I'm a self-taught musician, and I've never considered myself as a professional singer. I sing because I am a woman that sings. And I don't feel like singing is I feel like I can sing and then I can talk and then I can sing again and then I talk. And there's a continuity. It's a way of expression. And we were lucky to work with a cast that was not formatted. Zoe Saldana is an immense, great professional, but she kept telling me that she wasn't a singer. And actually, we made it a strength, because she's both precise and there's something raw about it. And Selena Gomez is a very, I mean, she's not completely American in the way she sings. She's not a mainstream, comment on dit, chanteuse de variété, the way we could imagine. She's very, the way she sings is very intimate. Yeah, in France we like that kind of singing. It's really about presence. When Selena sings, she's just present. She's not gonna overdo it, you know. And then we really pushed her, and she enjoyed it, like to go for screams and movement, and you know. So she enjoyed that. That was kind of out of the box. And Carla Sofia is not a singer, you know. So we really worked on her husky voice and make it very, her singing. We thought she would be the diva of the story, but actually it became much more intimate. The doctor too. Yeah, we thought the fact that he's not actually a crooner was a strength for the character, because we immediately trust him. He's not trying to seduce anyone. And Epifania is Adriana Paz is a very natural singer. So she sings, she has a very folky and lyrical voice that just fit perfectly for the ending scene, and she just sings, she's literally singing in the street. So that really helped giving that natural feel songs.
Wonderful. The other aspect that I adore about it, and that you unfortunately don't see enough of in movies in general, is just I'm assuming there was no CGI in this, or is there a little bit?
CGI.
Was there a little bit, or you know what I'm saying? Am I even saying it right? There might have been a little bit here and there. Yeah, it just felt very, you know, handmade. I mean, in the sense that there's so many movies I see today where they want a big crowd scene, or they want to have some sort of Broadway number, and then, you know, you're just sort of, you get lost in just the digital sort of stuff that's going on. What am I referencing? Anyways, and so for me, anything that looks, you know, like it's really happening, and the people are actually there and doing it, is very refreshing to me. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell you, what are your thoughts on that?
Je risque de décevoir énormément.
Oh, it's full of it, right?
Il y a des effets numériques partout.
Oh,
I'm afraid I'm going to hugely disappoint you, Rufus. There's CGI all over the place. There are digital effects all over the place.
Comme on a tourné en studio, voilà, le plateau était nu, tout autour c'était du fond bleu, il a fallu à un moment donné.
well, let me get the mic back.
You know, since we shot in a studio, the soundstage was bare. All around us was blue screen.
Okay, well, that's an amazing thing to me. But I feel like there was at least the attention play that it didn't look fake, you know, which I don't know.
Mais c'est comme tout à l'heure on parlait de la musique, de la notion de la perfection. Là aussi, comment les effets spéciaux sont ratés.
But you know, just as earlier we were talking about music and this notion of imperfection, here too, the digital effects don't quite succeed. They're not entirely successful.
Voilà, ils sont un petit peu comme ça.
They're a little bit like this.
We love that. So I know nothing about what I'm doing up here, by the way, but I'm trying my very best. Let's see. Okay, this is another question I had, which is very important, and this is a bit to all three of you, because it involves music, obviously. And I personally am a huge opera fan. I proposed 2 operas, and Requiem Mass, actually, which is going to be at Disney Hall on May 4th with Jane Fonda as the narrator, so everybody can see my Requiem. But I'm just, and for me, this was much more like an opera than a piece of musical theater, and I'm just curious if, well, first of all, if you love opera, or if that had any connection, or if it's just sort of something that you are, yeah, I'm just curious about that aspect, the operatic aspect.
Alors, c'est une chose un peu singulière pour moi, c'est que les premiers textes que j'ai écrits, maintenant il y a 5 ans, en fait, ça me vient sous forme de livret d'opéra. Ça fait une trentaine de pages, c'est comme des actes, et donc ça me laisse penser, moi, que dès le départ, il y avait la musique était dans le projet, la musique et le chant étaient dans le projet. Alors je ne sais pas d'où ça m'est venu. La seule chose que je peux dire là, c'est que cette idée d'opéra, cette envie d'opéra, je l'avais depuis longtemps. Et depuis mon deuxième film, j'avais pensé faire un petit opéra avec le musicien Alexandre Desplat. Un petit opéra à la façon de Black Rider, de Tom Waits, à la façon de Brecht Eveil, à la façon de John Adams, voilà, un petit format. On ne l'a pas fait, on a été paresseux, mais des 20 ans plus tard, ou 30 ans plus tard, je ne sais pas, l'opéra s'impose à moi.
You know, it's a singular thing for me because the first texts that I wrote for this project 5 years ago now were in the form of a libretto. It was 30 pages long, it was divided in acts, and that leads me to think that from the start, music and song were in this project. Now, where does that come from? What I can tell you is that I've had the idea and the desire for opera for a very long time. At the time of my second film, A Self-Made Hero, I had thought with the composer Alexandre Desplat to base a small opera on the film, an opera in the style of Tom Waits' Black Rider, a Brecht viol piece, or something by John Adams, you know, a small format. But Alexandre and I got lazy and we never did it. And then some 30 years later, this operatic form comes to fruition here.
Tell me how much you adore opera. It's your favorite.
No, what I wanted to say about the story is that I think yeah, Jacques came to us and asked us, like, is this going to be an opera, or is this supposed to be a film? In the end, it became a film. But what's operatic about it, to me, is that the music helps to believe the unbelievable. And it still has some operatic aspects in the melody, in the composition, but like, for example, I was thinking of the Barcelona scene, the end scene where he is dying, and I remember being on the shooting, and to me, the melody should have been like, and the actresses were, so I slid on and said, can you just, like, it's your turn, I believe and no. And I felt like, oh, this is not, you know, it's no crescendo there, this is not operatic. But actually, it's a film, and it works beautifully. It's like the sail also, which is a very operatic melody. It could be very huge, and it's not. And so the operatic feel is there, but it's subtle, it's intimate, and I find it even more interesting.
Great, and I noticed also for Clément that there was a lot of use also of objects that would make sounds. You know, like when they're getting ready to go to battle, and they're using the guns as this type of just the different sounds that are on one hand, you know, very familiar, and then also very romantic and kind of grand. Tell me about the different sounds and the sort of textual quality with the orchestration and stuff like that.
Le score, toute la musique qui n'est pas des chansons, a été compliqué à trouver parce qu'il y avait déjà tous ces éléments de chansons, il ne fallait pas cacher les chansons, et en même temps il nous manquait une musique pour exprimer certaines choses. Et le score, pour moi, il est présent sur trois aspects importants. Il y a les chœurs qui sont apparus comme une évidence sur l'écriture du score, qui sont écrits par Camille, et aussi par des chœurs lyriques, des chœurs hispaniques, qui créent une hétérogénéité dans le son, on aime bien, qui reflétait aussi le peuple. Donc il y a l'utilisation des chœurs, il y a l'utilisation d'un matériau harmonique tiré des chansons, dont on s'est servi pour construire les éléments du score, en anticipant ces chansons ou en résonnant en écho, comme les chœurs. Et il y a effectivement l'élément plus de son, où on utilise des sons concrets pour en faire de la musique. Alors, ça peut être effectivement les guns, les hommes de main qui arment les guns, qui devient un rythmique, qui devient aussi une petite chorégraphie. Il y a aussi les souffles, par exemple, les souffles des actrices qui muent en rythmique aussi. Voilà.
J'ai très. Ouais.
So the score, which is all the music in the film that's not a song, was rather difficult to find because we already had all these song elements in the film, and we had to make sure that we weren't going to hide the songs with the score, and yet we realized that we needed music to explore certain things and certain feelings in the film. So eventually I think the score came down to three elements or directions for us. The first was choirs. These were sung, or choruses. These were sung by Camille, and there were also lyrical choirs, Hispanic choirs, which introduced a kind of heterogeneity into the music that we liked. It's something that's like of the people, so we appreciated that. The second element was introducing harmonic elements from the songs to make the scores. And so these harmonic elements in the score either anticipate or echo a song. So a song's come or a song that is going to come. And then the third thing, as Rufus mentioned, are these sounds. So actual concrete sounds taken from life that are used to make music. So indeed, there's the gun, the arming of these weapons that creates both a rhythm and a kind of a dance, but you also have the actress's breath, which gradually transform into a rhythm as well.
Great. One other, I think we have a little, one more question, and this is actually for Jacques. And I'm just curious, as I've written a couple of, yeah, me. I wrote a couple I've written a few things, theatrical, and I'm just curious, for me personally, it always kind of shows up as this full-blown story where I kind of see the beginning, the middle, the end, and I'm kind of just struck, and then I have to kind of, it changes a little bit as you actually do it, but I'm just curious about the inception of this piece, the genesis, like where did it come from? Were you struck with it, or was it something that you kind of worked on for a long time?
D'abord, une histoire comme ça, moi, elle ne me serait pas venue, moi, personnellement, à l'esprit. J'ai trouvé comment le personnage de Manita, je l'ai trouvé dans un roman qui s'appelle Les Coups de Rufus Wainwright. Et dans ce roman, au milieu, il y a un chapitre où il y a un personnage qui apparaît, un personnage de narco qui désire opérer une transition et devenir une femme. Et je suis très surpris parce que le romancier ne développe pas le personnage. Et donc je l'appelle, je lui demande s'il y a un projet avec ce personnage, il me répond non, je lui dis l'idée, et puis voilà, c'est tout. Et j'ai développé ça, et c'est vraiment là d'où c'est venu. Et je pense que sur cette idée de transidentité, de changement de voix, tout ça, il y avait, là encore, je me répète, il y avait probablement l'idée de l'opéra, de la musique, du lyrique.
Well, first of all, a story like this one would never have come to my mind personally. The character of Manitas is one that I first read about in a novel by Boris Razon called Écoute, which translates to listen in English. And so I was reading this novel, and in the middle of it, there was this character of a narco boss, a cartel boss, who wants to transition and become a woman. And I was surprised because the novelist didn't develop that character. He didn't go any further with it. And I know the novelist, so I called him up and I asked him whether he was planning to do anything else with this character. He said no, and so I simply stole the character. And so that's where the idea initially came from. And then I do think that this idea of trans identity, the changing of the voice, is also something that comes from opera, the music and the lyricism of that.
La ce qui me surprenait vraiment dans ce personnage, c'est vraiment un homme qui est vraiment inscrit dans la violence, dans la virilité, dans le patriarcat, va pouvoir formuler le désir, éventuellement de passer de l'autre côté. En d'autres termes, peut-être que le projet d'EMILIA, c'est de mettre un terme à la violence des hommes, à la violence de la virilité, cette violence sans cesse répétée. Est-ce qu'elle y arrive?
What surprised me about this character was that here was a character so deeply embedded in violence, virility, patriarchy, that this character should be able to express the desire to go to the other side. Or in other terms, and in another way of putting it, perhaps Emilia's desire was to end the violence associated with men, to end the virility, this repeated violence. Now, does she succeed? That's another story.
Well, on that note,
Jacques.
guys.